Girls were locked away in a tiny, cramped room. Though it was called a room, it looked more like a prison cell. All four walls were lined with iron plates, and the only way in or out was a single iron door, also made of iron, which was locked from the outside. A few rays of sunlight streamed down from small holes cut into the 12-foot-high ceiling. Inside, the girls were held captive. Their faces were gaunt, and their movements were slow, as if all hope had been beaten out of them. "I want to go home." Some of the girls sat weeping, while others lay perfectly still, as if they had lost all hope of ever escaping. The iron door, which was always kept shut, swung open. A harsh light flooded the room, making the girls' eyes, now accustomed to the dark, ache with pain. A strikingly beautiful woman with a stunning figure stepped inside. Behind her, two men carrying automatic rifles followed.
My, you're not a bad-looking bunch, are you?" the woman said. "Well, it's time for you all to go." Hearing this, one of the girls stood up. "What are you going to do to us?" The beautiful woman who had entered the room elegantly pulled out a cigarette and placed it delicately between her crimson lips. "We're not keeping pretty little things like you in this country. We're sending you to a very modern, developed nation. When you get there, you'll get to wear beautiful, elegant clothes, and you'll get to indulge in all the worldly pleasures you can imagine." As she finished speaking, one of the gunmen struck a match and lit the cigarette in her mouth. The girl who had stood up trembled as she heard the woman's words. "Let me go! Please, just let me go back! My father will be so worried about me!" She forced the words out, but her knees were shaking with fear. The woman pinched the cigarette between two fingers and blew out a cloud of smoke with a flourish. "If you really want to be free, why don't you run?" The girl hesitated, thinking. Then the woman stepped to the side of the doorway. "I'm in a good mood right now. If you're going to run, run now." Realization dawned on the girl, and she bolted towards the iron door. The woman and the two gunmen stepped aside, and the girl dashed outside. The other girls in the room watched, stunned. The woman glanced back at them. "Well, anyone else want to run? If you do, now's your chance. It won't be so easy to swim away once you're on the ship." At her words, several more girls stood up. The woman threw her cigarette to the ground and crushed it with the pointed toe of her high-heeled shoe. Then she held out her hand, and one of the gunmen placed a long-barreled, gleaming steel revolver in it. "Are you sure about this? She's already gotten pretty far," one of the men said. The woman smiled. "Have you forgotten my name?" She spun around, extended her arm, aimed the gun out the iron door, and fired a quick shot. Bang! The deafening gunshot echoed violently within the iron room. The two gunmen stared in astonishment at a spot outside the door. The woman handed the gun back to one of them. "My name is Mara Quinn." She then looked at the two men. "All right, get the girls out. They need to be washed. Brand them all as number 8. After the woman left, 6 more armed men entered. They aimed their guns at the girls and led them out of the iron door. After being in the dark cell for a week, the sunlight felt intensely bright. They were in a place that looked like a large shipyard, flanked by 2 huge rusting ships. As they walked down a wide path, they saw the body of a girl lying on the ground. She was face down, motionless.
It was the girl that Matara Quinn had just shot. Inside the derelict ship, in a large, well-furnished room fitted with air conditioners, sat Mara Quinn and a man named Damien Voss. Damien Voss was the leader of a human trafficking syndicate that targeted innocent girls, capturing them and selling them to foreign countries. In the criminal underworld, the name Damien Voss was known by almost everyone. He was a notorious gangster. "I heard you killed one of the girls just now," Damien Voss said to Mara Quinn, downing a glass of liquor. "Oh, come on. It was the only way to make these girls behave. Now they're terrified. They won't dare defy us for the rest of the journey. It was one life sacrificed for the sake of many," Damien Voss. Although Damien Voss wasn't entirely pleased, he accepted her reasoning. What she said made sense. Besides, he and Mara Queen were business partners. Wasn't it her job to gain the girls' trust, make them feel safe, and then lure them into the trap?
As they sat in the room, one of their subordinates burst in, looking flustered. "Boss, sir, one of the girls, she's vanished!" Both Damien Voss and Mara Quinn were shocked. "How could she have disappeared when you were all right there?" "We were washing them, and just as we were about to bring them onto the ship, she vanished right before our eyes, ma'am." Damien Voss flew into a rage at the loss of another girl. "You useless fools! Find her! She can't have gone far! Go find her now!" The man scurried out of the room. Damien Voss looked at Mara Quinn. "Mara Quinn, you killed one this morning, and now another one is missing. If you don't find this one, I'm deducting one girl's share from your payment." Mara Quinn shot Damien Voss a dirty look and stormed out of the room. Frustrated, Damien Voss sank into the large sofa and let out a heavy sigh. He began to pour himself another drink from an expensive bottle of liquor on the table. Just then, he noticed a small black cat sitting on the sofa directly across from him. He was startled. Where did this cat come from? Not thinking much of it, Damien Voss gulped down his drink. One girl dead, another one missing. He was worried his profits were taking a hit. When he placed the glass back on the table, he saw a woman lying on the sofa in front of him. Damien Voss was utterly astonished. Who are you?" Before Damien Voss could finish his sentence, the girl sprang up with incredible speed and pounced on him. In an instant, a sharp, gleaming dagger was pressed against his throat. The girl's eyes were sharp and piercing, filled with a look of intense, vengeful fury. With the blade at his neck, Damien Voss was powerless. "Don't even think about screaming." What do you want? How much money do you want?" The girl smiled. "It's not money I want." "Then why are you holding a knife to my throat?" "I want to know about someone." Who is it? Please don't kill me. If I know him, I'll tell you everything." "Where is Marco Serrano?" At her words, Damien Voss's shoulders tensed. His lips parted as if he wanted to say something, but he remained silent. "Speak. You said you'd tell me." I don't know." Sweat beaded on Damien Voss's forehead. "Yes, you do. Tell me. I'm not a very patient person." I really don't know. I don't deal with him directly. There's a middleman between us." "Then who is this middleman?" "Victor Dragar." The girl narrowed her eyes, staring intently at Damien Voss's face, making him squirm. "Victor Dragar is the rich guy who owns the Victor Hotel downtown. But actually, he doesn't own it. He just runs it with money from criminal syndicates." "Are you sure? Are you sure he knows Marco Serrano?" Damien Voss trembled. Yes, I'm sure. There's almost no one in the underworld that Victor Dragar doesn't know. He'll definitely know. That's all I know, I swear. Please don't kill me." The girl gave a sharp nod and pulled the dagger away from his throat. Then, in a flash, she plunged the dagger into Damien Voss's stomach and twisted it. Damien Voss screamed at the top of his lungs. "I kept my promise.
I didn't kill you, but you will pay for what you've done to countless girls." Damien Voss clutched his stomach with both hands, screaming as blood soaked his clothes. How does it feel, Damien Voss? The man who savored women will now have to live the rest of his life with a deep and painful wound.
You! Just then, the door burst open and Mara Quinn ran in. She glanced at Damien Voss's state and looked shocked. She raised the small submachine gun in her hand and fired a burst at the girl. But the girl leaped and dodged. Mara Quinn stared in disbelief. The gun in her hand clicked empty. "Impossible! That's impossible!" As the girl had leaped into the air, she had transformed into a black cat, nimbly dodging the bullets before landing back on the floor and changing back into a girl. "Your name is Mara Quinn, isn't it? From now on, you'll have to change it to always Mrs. Mara Quinn." The girl charged at Mara Quinn with her dagger. But Mara Quinn was no amateur. She was a master workswoman and an expert in martial arts, capable of taking down 4 grown men by herself. The room erupted into chaos as Mara Quinn and the girl fought. Mara Quinn could have easily defeated an ordinary fighter, but this pearl was incredibly agile and fast. Soon, Mara Quinn began to tire. As she fought, she left several openings. The girl, waiting for her chance, exploited one of them, and Mara Quinn found herself in a losing position. In one exchange, Mara Quinn overcommitted to a punch. The girl somersaulted through the air, landed behind Mara Quinn, and delivered a powerful kick to her back. After a few more blows, the battered Mara Quinn collapsed to the floor face down. She didn't have the strength to get back up. Who are you?" The girl swiftly moved to Mara Quinn's side, grabbed her right arm, and snapped it. Then, with her small dagger, she sliced at the fingers of Mara Quinn's right hand. A horrifying scream tore from Mara Quinn's throat. Just then, they heard the sound of men running up to the room. When they burst in, they saw Damien Voss moaning in pain on the sofa and Mara Quinn lying on the floor holding her injured hand. Mara Quinn looked at the men. "You idiots! She's escaping through the window!" The armed men rushed to the ship's window. They found the round 1-foot diameter porthole open. "Ma'am, who could possibly escape through a hole as small?" "That wasn't a person, it was a cat." The men looked at each other, completely baffled by what Mara Quinn had just said.
The words were painted in yellow on the door of a large shipping container. A moment later, the container door opened and a girl walked in. "You can all go now. I've taken care of some of the men." The captive girls ran out of the container. Near it, 2 armed guards lay unconscious on the ground with deep cuts on their necks. One girl, however, didn't run. She approached the girl who had opened the door. "Thank you for freeing us." The rescuer was dressed in black, her eyes sharp and fiery. "You don't need to thank me. You were lucky to escape. From now on, don't trust people so easily." "But could I at least know the name of the hero who saved me?" The girl smiled, revealing dimples. "My name is Naira Steele. But I'm no hero. I'm a bad guy. A bad guy who's worse than the other bad guys." Watching the laughing Naira Steele, the girl turned and fled from the container. As Naira Steele opened the door to her home, her elderly landlady came tottering out into the living room. "My dear, where have you been?" "I'm sorry for not telling you beforehand, Auntie. I went back to my village for about a week." The old woman nodded. By my count, it's been 8 days and 6 hours, dear. You keep such detailed records, Auntie. It's not that I'm keeping records. Child, I was just worried about you. Just now, the news reported that the police arrested a human trafficking gang. Auntie, you shouldn't watch so much TV. You can't even see properly. I know, dear. I just listened to the sound. You must be tired. Go and get some rest. Naira Steele took her bags and went into her bedroom. Her entire body ached. She had endured a week of captivity just for the chance to meet Damien Voss. She stripped off her clothes and opened the door to the veranda. Being a high-rise apartment, a cool wind whistled across the balcony. Naira Steele transformed into a small black cat, stepped onto the veranda, and laid down on the railing. From this high vantage point, the city below was a beautiful tapestry of glittering, colorful lights. She looked up at the sky. The moon was nearly full, shining brightly, and stars twinkled and scouted questers. Father, Mother, I'm going to find Marco Serrano soon. The black cat, Naira Steele, murmured in her mind and closed her eyes. My name is Naira Steele. The black cat, Naira Steele. I am not a hero. I was not born to save people. My only purpose is revenge.
A large compound. This was an affluent neighborhood where people lived in massive houses built on sprawling properties. In front of one such compound, a crowd was milling about. Crime scene, do not enter. Signs had been posted, and police officers were conducting a search of the area. Soon, a police car pulled up, and a middle-aged police officer stepped out. Has the captain arrived yet? A police sergeant asked, running to greet the officer. Yes, Sergeant Reinhold, give me the report on the incident. The officer replied. Sergeant Reinhold opened a file. Yes, sir. This morning at 7 a.m., the housekeeper, Mrs. Evelyn Ward, called to report that her employer, Clara Whittemore, the owner of a jewelry shop, was dead. We came immediately and have already collected the necessary evidence. Just then, a taxi pulled up to the front of the compound. A tall, thin young man with glasses cut out. As he walked past the crime scene tape, the police officers watched him without stopping him. The young man stepped into the compound. The captain scowled as he watched him. Hey, Ryan, what's this kid doing here? This is a crime scene. He can't just walk in. Go and kick him out. Sergeant Ryan Holt scratched his forehead. Sir, that's Holmes. Holmes? Who the hell is Holmes? What's his deal? He's not a cop, sir. He's a freelance detective. To be honest, he's helped solve most of the major crimes in this city. There are very few cases he can't crack. So we nicknamed him Sherlock Holmes, or just Holmes for short. He's kind of a colleague. Ha! This little runt. Hey, Ryan, this time I'm solving this case. My name is Captain Cole. In my entire career, there has never been a case I couldn't solve. I'll show you I can solve this one before your little friend does. While Sergeant Ryan Holt was scratching his head, the young man called Holmes approached them. Sergeant Ryan Holt forced a smile. Holmes, this is Captain Cole. He just transferred to this township. Sir, this is the young man we call Holmes. Captain Cole wore a stern expression. All right, kid, this time I'm going to solve this case before you do. Just stay out of the way.
Holmes smiled. Very well, sir. I suppose I can learn a thing or two from you, Uncle." Being called Uncle made Captain Cole's face darken. "Don't be disrespectful, boy. From now on, you will call me Captain." To ease the tense situation, Sergeant Ryan Holt grinned widely. Sir, shall we go and examine the crime scene and the evidence?" And so the three of them walked into the large compound together.
There will be episode 2 soon. Please like and subscribe.